I'm 81 years old. For most of my life, I believed loneliness was a simple thing, an empty room, a silent telephone, something that happened to you when people left. It took me 80 decades to understand I was wrong. Loneliness isn't something that happens when you're alone. It's something you build, room by room, inside yourself, while you're busy living what looks like a full life. And by the time you hear the echo of your own footsteps in those hollow spaces, it's too late to change the architecture. I'm telling you this now because there's no one left in my life who would remember the man I was before I built it. My wife, Eleanor, has been gone for 12 years. Our friends, well, they faded away, one by one, over the decades. It's a natural thinning, they say. My son, David, calls every other Sunday. We speak for 15, maybe 20 minutes. He tells me about his children's soccer games, his job. I tell him I'm fine. The garden is fine. My knees are acting up, but it's fine. There is a canyon of things unsaid between us, wide and deep, and our conversation is a tiny, careful rope bridge strung across it. We don't look down. So the only person who remembers the whole story is me, and I am running out of time to tell it.
It didn't start with a catastrophe. That's the first thing you must understand. It started with a very reasonable decision made by a very reasonable young man. I was 34. Eleanor was pregnant with David. I was an accountant, a good one, prudent, careful. I saw life as a ledger, and my job was to ensure the columns balanced. Security was the ultimate asset. When a senior position opened at the firm, a role that promised a significant salary increase but would require longer hours, even some weekends, I took it. Of course I took it. I had a family on the way. I remember telling Eleanor over dinner of meatloaf and peas. "It's just for now," I said. "Just until we're properly on our feet. Then I'll dial it back." She smiled, a little tight around the eyes, and nodded. "We'll manage," she said. That was the first brick. I didn't know it was a brick. It felt like a stepping stone. For 20 years, I was a man defined by duty. My duty was to provide, to build a safe, predictable life. I left the house at 7:15. I returned at 7, sometimes 8. I ate the dinner kept warm in the oven. I asked David about his school day. He'd give a one-word answer. Fine. Okay. Nothing. I'd nod, tired. I thought his reticence was just being a teenager. I'd help with the dishes, then often retreat to the small study to review more work. My presence in the house was a logistical fact, not an emotional one. I was a reliable piece of furniture, a dependable appliance that generated income and signed permission slips.
The loneliness wasn't in my house. My house was full of sounds. The television, the clatter of dishes, Eleanor talking to her sister on the phone. The loneliness was in me. It was a quiet compartment I sealed off. I'd feel it sometimes, a hollow, airless feeling when I was driving home or sitting in a meeting that had run too long. I'd dismiss it. Fatigue, stress, a temporary deficit of company. I'd think, when I retire, when David is settled, when we have more time. There was always a when. The future was a promissory note I kept writing to myself. I missed things, not deliberately, not cruelly, just sequentially. David's middle school play because a client meeting ran late. A weekend trip to the coast Eleanor had planned because a quarterly report was a mess. I'd apologize, sincerely. I'd feel a pang of guilt.
but I also felt a quiet, perverse sense of virtue. Look how hard I'm working for them, I'd think. This is what a good man does. My absences, I believed, were the price of my presence, a paradox I didn't examine. Eleanor was diagnosed. It was a swift and brutal illness. 6 months they gave us. It was in that stark, sterilized room, holding her thin hand, that the ledger of my life finally presented its true balance. I looked back over the columns, the hours billed, the promotions earned, the security amassed, and on the other side I saw a devastating sum of deferred moments, of postponed conversations, of love assumed but not tended to. In her last weeks she wasn't bitter, she was sad. One afternoon the light was weak and yellow through the hospital blinds. She could barely speak above a murmur. She said, "Do you remember the summer we rented the cabin by the lake before David?" I had to think, a vague memory, fuzzy at the edges. "Yes," I lied. "Of course." She smiled, her eyes closed. We stayed in bed until noon. We didn't talk about the future once. We just were. A tear escaped from the corner of her eye and traveled into her hairline. I lived a whole lifetime inside that week. I sat there, holding her hand, and the loneliness I had been building inside myself for 40 years collapsed in on me all at once. It wasn't the loneliness of her impending death. It was the loneliness of realizing I had been absent for our life. I had provided the set, the props, the financial backing, but I had missed the performance. I had been so busy building a life for us that I forgot to live it with her. Her death was the final, irrevocable seal on that loneliness. You cannot make up for lost time with someone who has run out of it. After she was gone, the house was empty in the way I had always imagined loneliness would be. But the deeper emptiness was the one I carried. It was the archive of all the things we never said, the trips we never took, the ordinary afternoons I traded for the illusion of extraordinary security. I had a paid-off house, a comfortable pension, and a silence so profound I could hear my own heart beating like a lonely clock in a vacant hall. David tried at first. He'd visit. We'd sit in the living room with too much space between us, sipping tea, scrambling for topics. We were two polite acquaintances with a shared genetic history. The bridge to a real connection had never been built when the time was right. Now we were on opposite sides of that canyon, shouting pleasantries across the void. His love for me is dutiful and perhaps pitying. It is not intimate. How could it be? Intimacy is built in the small daily deposits of attention, and I had made no investments. So here is what I've learned, too late to apply to my own life. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of connection. And connection isn't a grand, romantic gesture you make when your duties are done. It is the microscopic, mundane texture of a shared life. It is putting down the newspaper when your spouse walks into the room. It is listening to the tedious story of your child's schoolyard dispute, really listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak. It is choosing 10,000 times the unimportant, unproductive, unbillable hour of presence over the important, productive, billable hour of work. I thought I was building a fortress to keep my family safe from the world's hardships. I didn't see that I was locking myself out. The world's hardships got in anyway. Sickness, grief, time. But the warmth, the shared resilience, the memory bank you draw from in cold times, I had left those on the other side of the door.
You may hear this and think of your own long hours, your own justifications. You may tell yourself your story will be different. Maybe it will. I hope it is. But don't mistake proximity for presence. Don't confuse providing for caring. And don't believe the lie that there will be more time later. Time is not a renewable resource you can save up. It is a river, and you are standing in it. You can either feel the cold water around your ankles, be present in the current moment, or you can stand rigid on the bank, planning a future picnic while the river flows on without you. My loneliness now is my final companion. It is the teacher I refused to listen to for 80 years. It taught me that a life can be perfectly orderly, impeccably responsible, and deeply, profoundly lonely. The structures we build for safety can become the very walls that isolate us. If my voice, old and frayed as it is, reaches you, just stop for a moment. Tonight, put down whatever you are doing that feels so urgent. Go find someone you love. Don't talk about the future. Don't solve a problem. Just sit with them. Listen to the sound of their breathing in the quiet room. Be there. Really be there. That is all I have left to give. A warning from a man who built a beautiful, empty house. Don't wait until you're 81, sitting in the silence you built, to understand what the quiet was trying to tell you. It's not saying you're alone. It's asking you to come back before it's too late. I think my time is just about up.